What's up y'all, it's your girl Bruja Africana coming to you all with a tarot reading. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel, because this reading is going to be a long one. Also, before we get into today's reading, let me hit y'all with a quick disclaimer. And if your bitch ass don't want to hear the disclaimer, fast forward to 3 minutes and 47 seconds. That's where the actual reading will begin. Impatient bald-headed ass. So I'm exploring different ways to present readings, so please bear with me and this text-to-speech AI voice. It's like fucking nails on a chalkboard, I know, fucking horrible and robotic and shit, but we are innovative on this channel and I like to experiment with different concepts and techniques to be able to present readings. This is not set in stone nor will it replace how I've been recording readings, but be prepared to see more readings from me, like this, because I like it and while I truly value y'all opinions, I'm going to do what I want to do with my channel, respectfully. Oh, don't start acting funny with me kinfolks. Y'all know I'm a certified shit talker and before we get into the readings I gotta fuck with y'all a little bit, and engage in some lighthearted shit talking, just to see if y'all squared away. If this is your first time tuning into my channel, first of all, welcome, second, hit the subscribe button, and then tap that bell, so you'll know when I'm back on here talking shit about your favorite celebrity. If you're a returning visitor, welcome back nigga. I fucks with you the longest of ways for coming back to fuck with me continuously. Also, if y'all want to suggest a reading over a celebrity or over a real-life event, such as the looming presidential election, or the protests surrounding Hamas and Gaza, etc., as well as if you would like a personal reading, a spell cast or if you'd like to purchase the instructions to a spell, you can put it in the comments or email me, brujaafricanatarot888@gmail.com. Lastly, I do not or will not inbox or reach out to folks to initiate readings or spiritual conversations, bitch, I barely pick the phone up. So if someone has emailed you or reached out to you with a fake-ass prophetic message, and it sounds like they're saying some shit to you that doesn't sound like me, block them. Because that's not how I give it up, beloved. If you reach out to me for a reading, please believe I will only respond to you from the email address I just stated. That also means I would never give you a phone number that you can only send text to. If you don't hear my voice on the other end of the call or somewhere within the voice text, you're not speaking to me. Don't get scammed by these tack-head-ass thieves trying to impersonate me. I only have one Instagram, one Twitter/X, one TikTok, one Facebook, one YouTube account. I do not have an account with any of the following. I sell pussy, but my bio says model platforms, no Snapchat, no Bumble, no Plenty O Fish, no Grindr, no Tinder. None of that horse it. Again, if someone reaches out to you from one of the aforementioned platforms, you are not speaking to me. I also only have one Cash App, one PayPal, one Venmo account, all of them have the same handle at Bruja Africana Tarot. Do not send anyone any money pretending to be me. If you would like to show the channel some love and help out with the growth process, you can send a donation to one of my payment platforms or buy a few supers. I appreciate the love y'all show me. That said, I know you came here for this tarot heat, so let me not delay any further. Y'all, let's talk about the Jackson 5, this is part 1 by the way. Ain't no way in hell one reading would be enough to cover them, there's literally so much to unpack on the Jacksons that I'm definitely going to do a part 2, 3, 4, and maybe 5 on them. You Lord, the messiness that exists within families is a topic that I do believe should be explored more. Especially the shit that occurs within the Black American family unit. You know, it's not uncommon. Or spoken of much for that matter. To hear stories about siblings who seem to be close but later on, we find out that they each either hated each other or all of the siblings hated one sibling or was jealous of one another. Have y'all ever met a set or group of siblings that pretend to be close in public but behind closed doors, they hate each other like they aren't related? Well, this is the case with Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5, really, this is the case with all of his siblings except Janet. No, Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 isn't the name of the group, but hell, that's what it may as well have been because realistically, people were more interested in Michael than they were of any of the Jackson brothers. I mean, let's be honest. When was the last time y'all physically searched for and listened to a Jermaine Jackson song? Okay. Y'all might have recently searched for Don't Take It Personal by Jermaine Jackson on YouTube. Y'all might even have it on a playlist or two. I'll give you that one because that song is that shit and is one of his songs that are actually decent, so I'll give y'all a slight pass on the Jermaine Jackson songs. But when was the last time you searched for and listened to some shit by Tito Jackie or Marlon Jackson? As a matter of fact, name a song by one of them niggas. And if you say today you heard a song by either of them, I'm gonna tell you that I know you fucking lying, because I know goddamn well y'all not bop pin to no Tito, Jackie, or Marlon Jackson. Stop the cap. It wasn't hard for Gordy and Motown to come in and cause division because the spirit of jealousy and competition was already present within the Jackson family. It's almost like Joe was already pitting them against one another via comparing their talents and possibly pointing out how much more talented Michael was than the rest of them amid working them like slaves and treating them like employees, and not like they were his children. Gordy began to present the family quarrels as friendly sibling rivalries and indeed benefited off of the fact that Jermaine was already showing visible signs of being in competition with Michael. The Two of Swords energy was heavy with Jermaine because he had to know back then that his little brother's talent was about to eclipse his. Although the family continued to present themselves as this close family, the tensions behind the scenes was growing and Gordy and Motown just stood back and watched their plan unfold. Gordy began to present the family quarrels as friendly sibling rivalries and indeed benefited off of the fact that Jermaine was already showing visible signs of being in competition with Michael. The Two of Swords energy was heavy with Jermaine because he had to know back then that his little brother's talent was about to eclipse his. Although the family continued to present themselves as this close family, the tensions behind the scenes was growing and Gordy and Motown just stood back and watched their plan unfold. By 1975, Gordy and Joe Jackson were at odds over the money the Jackson 5 was making off of their music. Joe was pissed off because the boys were only making .02 cents per each unit sold and some other financially egregious things that Joe felt weren't beneficial to his bottom line of being wealthy. It didn't really have shit to do with the boys being cheated out of money they should have earned, it was more about Joe not being able to live like the people in Hollywood, at that time, because please believe he lived very comfortably off of the backs of his sons, but he, like Motown, wanted more. Out of the Jackson 5. They were proverbially being pimped out or sold around to the highest bidders at the behest of their own father. Tragic, ain't it? When the boys felt tired, or when they'd have normal teenager outburst because they were under intense pressure to perform and get the shit right so they could get paid, Joe would have them beat each other, after he would finish beating them for either missing a step in practice while dancing, or messing up and singing out of tune or playing out of key. Joe made life absolutely miserable for the Jackson children as a whole but made it even worse for the Jackson 5. They were not allowed to make mistakes. And when they weren't practicing their music, they were in church. As we know, they grew up Jehovah's Witnesses, so when they weren't singing and dancing at the behest of Gordy or Joe, they were up early every Saturday morning with Catherine knocking on doors, ringing doorbells and asking if folk wanted to know more about their Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and if they didn't want to hear about Jesus, I guess Catherine had them leave a pamphlet there to read. Y'all know what Jehovah's Witnesses give. Anyway, when they weren't with their mama, they were suffering at the hands of their father, who allegedly had a problem keeping his hands off of the girls in a sexual way, allegedly. According to LaToya, they all were sexually abused by their father, and honestly, their cards indicate that there was something sexually inappropriate going on in that house that Catherine was turning a blind eye to. The cards suggest that Michael was molested by one of his older brothers, and when we get to that brother versus Michael, we will discuss Dr. Freaky Brother. The cards also indicate that LaToya is not lying when she made the allegations against her father, she just didn't tell the whole truth. She and Joe had some real Eve's Bayou type shit going on, and just like the mama in Eve's Bayou overlooked her husband and their daughter having an inappropriate relationship, Catherine did the same. Yes, kinfolk, Miss Catherine ain't no saint, she basically chose her husband over the safety of all of her children, and the wolves of the industry, mainly Berry Gordy, were paying attention to them more closely than I believe they knew at first. Then, when Joe figured out that he was being watched, he did what all narcissists do, hid behind a fake happy family life. He made them make their public image appear even more kumbaya than it had been, because, as Joe saw it, if anyone knew that he didn't truly love his children, they could potentially be swayed against him, and he couldn't have that. To maintain his control over their minds, he would beat them randomly, for no reason, or not allow them to eat dinner. You know, real helter-skelter type treatment on his own goddamn kids, man. Sad. He even got to the point of possibly and allegedly. 'Cause y'all know I have to say that because these fucky-ass celebrities be watching my videos and making fake pages to respond if I don't say, allegedly. So allegedly, Joe would have the boys box each other as another form of punishment, or if he felt like seeing a fight, or if he just wanted to be a fucking bully for his own shits and giggles. He even allegedly was the root of the Michael versus Jermaine thing. Now, word on the curb is that Joe used to have one-on-one conversations with both Michael and Jermaine and would lie to each of them about something the other one never said, just to make Jermaine and Michael work harder. Remember I told y'all that the goal of the Jackson 5 was to build a solo star? Okay, don't think Joe and his stone-shaped head wasn't in on the rivalry. Did Jermaine and Michael love each other? When they were kids they did, but Jermaine started to change up on Michael, and y'all know a fucking Virgo is not going to allow you to play with them. So Michael started giving Jermaine his ass to kiss after a while. Jermaine, being the sneaky Sagittarius bastard that he is, was the one who was running the information back to Berry Gordy about what was happening in he house, not as a means to tell somebody so they could get help, but so Berry Gordy would take pity upon him and make him a star. Jermaine didn't give two matafucks about his siblings and what Joe was doing to them. He made it clear to Gordy and Matwan that he would do anything for fame, even if it meant he had to stab his family in the back or sacrifice his family for his own fame. Berry Gordy, being the conniving fucker he is, manipulated everything Jermaine was running his ass over there telling him about his family and used it as a marketing scheme to sell records. Damn, it was hell no matter where the Jackson kids went, shit they couldn't catch a break. Joe had decided to move the Jackson 5 brand to Epic in 1976, and this pissed Berry Gordy off honey. It was a war between demons over the ownership of 5 children who truly deserved better from the adults who were responsible for them. To further his own agenda and to make sure his label survived the departure of the Jackson 5, Gordy slithered his ass over into his own household and used his own daughter as bait to keep Jermaine on Motown. Remember I told y'all the industry loves to use beautiful women as bait traps for certain weak-minded men in the industry? Well, Berry Gordy knew about this concept from other label owners and had seen it work for the other gatekeepers, so why wouldn't it work for him? Gordy presented his daughter Hazel as a trap to keep Jermaine signed Motown and it worked. Now, to be honest, Gordy really didn't see Jermaine as the one who was going to be a superstar. He just tolerated Jermaine because he knew he could easily turn him against his family, manipulate him, pay him pennies, and possibly use him as a means of not only keeping Motown active and relevant but to rival Michael Jackson, whose star started to shine brighter after he released the single, Got to Be There. Gordy knew he was about to lose the Jackson 5, but he knew he could retain Jermaine and use him as his own version of Michael and make him the alleged soulful version, and being that Jermaine is an obsequious, kiss-ass, go-along-to-get-along hedonistic kind of nigga, he went along with the shit and backstabbed his group/brothers. Prior to his departure from the group, Jermaine had begun to see Michael as his rival and had spread his poison amongst the other brothers because Michael's star power increased after he released the single. Jermaine knew that Michael had the musical ability to take his spot as the favorite among the public, so he started doing a lot of unnecessary comparing and contrasting his talent against Michael's talent. It got so bad that Jermaine's jealousy couldn't be hidden. His jealousy began to rub off onto the other brothers and it became Michael versus Jermaine, Tito, Marlon and Jackie. After their departure minus Jermaine, who was now over at Motown and repping the fuck out of the label, the issues only got larger as Michael began to get more and more stardom. It got to the point that they couldn't even stand to be in the room with one another long enough to record music or finish albums that they had promised their fans and had been obligated to produce. Meanwhile, Jermaine wasn't part of the group anymore, yet that didn't stop him from being a messy-ass Sagittarius male who was actively working as an agent sent by Berry Gordy to keep discord going between he and the brothers, who also were stripped of their rights to the name, the Jackson 5, and were now performing simply as the Jacksons, by making statements about the group without consulting them or even considering them. He would go on to fail as a solo artist though because he couldn't quite make it as a solo artist, but will drag the fuck out of Jermaine in his reading because my god, he is a wretched human being. Now Michael began to see the fruits of his labor as a solo artist and started forming his own opinion of his brothers, who he now felt were embarrassing. Yes, Michael began feeling himself, and could you blame him? After he did background vocals and wrote the song, Somebody's Watching Me, with Rockwell, and after he released Thriller, Michael's ego began to grow and he started seeing his brothers and the Jackson/Jackson 5 brand as a whole in the same way that his now new family, aka the industry, friends, and executives, as trustworthy because they were now blowing smoke up his ass and making him feel better than his family. Michael began to believe the hype surrounding him and started to pull away from the Jackson brand. He would purposely miss performances but would show up to family meetings and act as if he hadn't just missed 4 shows on a 5-city tour. When he did perform with the brothers, he would do so in a half-assed way, but this didn't stop his fans from coming to the shows and screaming his name and ignoring the rest of the brothers. Yes, Jermaine would have his sorry ass at the shows, mainly because he definitely needed all of the money his delusionally opulent ass could grasp because he had the habit of even trying to compete with Michael's lifestyle, knowing that they absolutely lived in 2 different tax brackets, but he wanted the world to view him as Michael Jackson's equal and not just as Michael Jackson's brother. When Jermaine was at the shows, he tried desperately to make the audience pay attention to him. But when nobody sang along to his floppy music, and continued to either sing the Jackson 5 hits or chant Michael, Michael, Michael over and over again, it made Jermaine more envious of his brother, and not because he felt bad for his brothers, but it was more like a how dare they only want to see Michael, as if I am not here. Child, who in the entire fuck did Jermaine Jackson think he was? I heard him referred to as the poor man's Michael Jackson, and I mean, the accuracy is uncanny. Rightfully so, Michael began to grow tired of the feuding between he and his brothers. He was the sole reason people were still interested in the Jacksons, he was the sole reason why people even came to their shows, and by now, he had begun to outgrow his group. Like I said, he started to believe the hype around him, he was the star, and his brothers, and family, aside from Janet, were problematic and, according to his cards, he started feeling like he was better than them. So he sought his freedom from the brand and found it when he officially left the group in 1984 and released Thriller, which earned him 8 Grammys, further leaving his brothers behind, and fueling their jealousy of his success. It got so bad at one point, y'all, that they all began to take credit for Michael's success. You would hear them basically saying, if it wasn't for the Jackson 5, Michael wouldn't be Michael Jackson. They diminished his shine every chance they got their hateful asses in front of a microphone. And you better believe that they were only given an extension to their careers because of who their brother had become. Now, in any normal situation, you'd expect siblings to be happy for their brother, right? Well, the Jacksons ain't normal, and because we keep shit a stack over here, I'm gonna keep revealing what their cards are indicating, and their cards indicate jealousy, backstabbing, manipulation, abuse of all kinds, control, and pain and anguish. We'll continue to discuss the Jackson 5 in more detail in Part 2, so make sure you tune in and subscribe so you'll get that notification of Part 2. Wait. Maybe I should also add a Jermaine vs. Michael and LaToya vs. Michael reading to this series, huh? Because Jermaine and LaToya are the most jealous of Michael and were the main ones helping slander their own brother. I told y'all in Michael Jackson's energy reading that he didn't trust his siblings still. Oh, we're definitely doing a series on the Jackson family, so stay tuned. Look, if you've made it this far, you might as well subscribe because you know you liked this reading and you know you want to hear Part 2 and such of the Jackson 5 readings. So go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you and my other kinfolks later. Alright y'all. Stay dangerous.